Welcome to the Superhero's Journey, episode number 19, podcast where we talk mainly about superhero movies and TV shows with a bit of Star Wars and other things in the genre. My name is Carl Freemerman, and with me is my co-host,
Brian Shores.
You can find us on Twitter at Superhero Journey, no E in super. You can find me specifically at Carl Freemerman, that's CarlFreemerman.
And I'm on Twitter at that Brian. It's THATBRIEN.
And of course, write to us at thesuperheroesjourney at gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive. And we missed last week. Some people may have noticed.
Yeah, one or two.
We're back though. Scheduling conflict, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we do this for fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out.
No, I'll take the hit for that. I was on vacation.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, I guess I should mention right now, there is a crisis going on that just happened.
Yeah.
There was a horrific shooting in Las Vegas. The count is at least 58 people dead right now, 500 plus injuries.
Yeah.
And I'd like to just say a word, my thoughts are out there for these people, everyone suffering, family members, friends. It's really awful.
Yeah, just putting out any kind of concern or positivity to the victims and the families of anyone who lost anyone.
Right. Yeah, it's especially scary because it's a thing that any of us might do. I've been to concerts before.
Yeah.
I mean, for it to happen that way, it's really awful. People just out there just trying to enjoy themselves, have fun. There's no reason for anything like this. Not to get too political, just to say that like if this country and our politicians don't do anything to stop this stuff in the future, I mean that's just as bad as what's happening now. The things that these keep happening, it has to stop.
Yeah. I mean, something has to be done to stop enabling like senseless violence, like.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, move on to our first story.
Yep.
This is a little fun one, so
just bring it up a bit.
Yeah, let's bring it up a little bit. I find it funny and hilarious. Yeah. So we've been calling the DC movies the DCEU, right? Which stands for the DC Extended Universe, right?
Yeah.
And but apparently that's not the official name for it.
Yeah.
WB does not use this internally, and they never have.
Well, they don't have to for it to pretty much just be official,
right? But apparently, there's a journalist who was writing about this at one point, and he coined that phrase because he just thought it sounded right and like what they would use, and ever since then, it just stuck. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's not that far off from like the MCU, so
yeah. No, but the MCU is a term that they use internally.
Yeah,
like that's what it's called. And
because it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which
But it's really funny and to me just sort of shows their lack of vision on this because it's taken this long for them to come out and say, oh yeah, no, that's not what we call it. Stop doing that.
Yeah, which like why would they even like say to not call it that? Like what is it harming? Like, and if they're not going to come out with a correction of saying like, oh yeah, by the way, we're calling it this, and whatever it is internally that they're calling it, which it sounds like everything is just very disjointed and non-cohesive.
I mean they should have had a name of their own to use, or an acronym rather. I mean, because people are gonna start doing that. You're building this universe. It's not like you aren't.
Well, I mean, and that kind of goes into another like tangential story that I was going to mention like while we're talking about this, is that like Warner Brothers has come out in saying that pretty much like after like just like Justice League, they're going to be branching out with other DC property movies that are not going to be part of this collective universe. So it's probably.
Right. I did see a story about that. Jeff Johns saying like that's not really true. Well, but it might be true for like the Joker movie.
Yeah.
So like it's really situational, and that's odd.
Yeah, because like Jeff Johns was saying that like not everything is going to be like Marvel, where it's where he didn't like name check Marvel specifically, but he was saying that it's not like the Aquaman movie is not going to, tie in with, with every other Just League movie. Probably similar.
They're all going to be in it. Okay, Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn are going to have appearances, and the Joker.
I mean, that's what the Flash is starting to sound like, but
well, with Flashpoint, I would expect that.
Yeah, but I don't know. So yeah, I mean, starting with the Joker movie where they're where it's gonna be completely standalone, that's fine, because now they have a chance to do a better job with.
I suppose I'm just disappointed because I don't think that they should be doing that. Like, I know, this is how things used to be.
Yeah.
But Marvel has spoiled me, and this is what I want. And as a comic book fan, that's always how it's been in the comic books.
Yeah.
And they've had side stories, but generally the standard canon of a comic book universe was always they were all interconnected, and they had side stories that didn't always cross over. That's fine, but to know that they're always in the same universe was cool, and you wanted that. To know that they could cross over at any given time was great.
No, I mean, and it's something that I think every comic fan likes and gets excited for, because I remember when I was a kid watching Batman Forever, which is not really a great movie, but it was like live action Batman with Robin. I'm like, that's really cool. But there's a line in there where, Bruce Wayne is talking to Robin when he first gets to Wayne Manor. He's like, I would have thought the circus would have been halfway to Metropolis by now. And I got super excited because I'm like, that's the place where Superman lives.
Yeah, right. Like, I remember, or if you remember, when the Batman animated series was running and Superman first showed up and they had that crossover episode, that little arc there. That was amazing. Yeah. I mean, it was the first time that we ever saw that in that show.
Yeah.
Because they never really introduced other heroes in Batman, or at least other major heroes. I don't remember.
No, I think that might have been the first when they started to do it, because I think it was after that point that they started bringing in like characters like Etrigan and stuff like that.
Right.
But because I think because now that I'm thinking about it, it was the other heroes that they were bringing in. It was like the Gray Ghost and other stuff that was made up for the show.
And it was handled so well. It was a great little episode, a little mini series there going on, and it's worth watching if anybody hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
And from then on, you got the Superman animated series, which had appearances by, Green Lantern and several other heroes.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
The Flash.
The Flash, right?
That was a great episode.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yeah. Where they're going up against the Weather Wizard.
Yeah, but they start off like just having a race for like charity.
Yeah.
To see who's fastest. That's so good.
Yeah.
See, I want that kind of fun in the movies. Of course, we can't have that because... they have to be all Superman,
dark, doom and gloom.
Yeah, would never race the Flash publicly because the Superman is like this moody, weird, emo guy.
Yeah.
So I can't ever see that happening. I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's really it's funny because, like, what else are they going to call this universe? I mean, you can't calling it the DC Cinematic Universe would be abbreviated to DCCU, which is kind of odd.
Yeah. I mean, like...
DCU... I guess no DC Universe. I mean, you could.
I think they should have just called it like Elseworld, like something like that.
Then it's like what's it called? Dark Universe, right?
Yeah, but at least like Elseworld is already a thing from the comic where it's like, we want to do a Superman story, but he was raised in Russia instead of the U.S. or it was. Like Batman is chasing Jack the Ripper.
You know what? You're right, Brian. It's still the DCEU, but it's secretly the DC Elseworld universe.
Oh, okay.
And this is the Elseworld, and we're going to find out after Flashpoint that the good universe exists.
It still exists, and we're out that the CW shows are the true like DCU, where things are actually like fun and hopeful and just brightly colored.
No, the Supergirl is actually... That universe is actually the real Superman DC movie universe.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, they could if they did that would be cool because it's the only one that's really still kind of separate, even though they've crossed over.
Yeah,
and Superman appears in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean it'd be nice.
In the good universe, Lex Luthor is not Lex Luthor Jr. It's just regular Lex Luthor, and it's what's his name? Why'd I forget his name? God damn, the Breaking Bad guy.
Oh, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
Dude, that would be amazing if they got Bryan Cranston to be Lex Luthor on Supergirl. Which I could kind of see him doing it too if he just thought he'd have fun with the role.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the movie, of course, I would want him to be Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah,
like that was always the fan cast, and I mean, at that point I hadn't watched Breaking Bad, but now that I have, I'm like, hell yeah, he should absolutely be, Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he's good at being the somewhat likable, evil, calculating guy.
Absolutely.
So
he'd have been the perfect casting, and I know it would be very typecasting because he did that role. But now it's been a while. Come on, guys, right?
Yeah.
At least in Flashpoint, maybe.
Yeah.
Like the alternate universe, you see him. If they can't do it fully, but I don't know, whatever. Let's move on. There's too much speculation for what we would love to see in DC. That'll never happen.
Yeah, we'll just get sad otherwise.
Yeah, I don't want to be too sad.
No.
All right, so we got a new casting for the Titans show.
Yep.
An actress named Lindsay Gort, who apparently was in the Carrie Diaries.
Yeah.
Will play a police detective, Amy Rohrbach, who briefly I read that in the comics she was partnered with Dick Grayson when he became a police officer in Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think they're going to do it that way. Although,
I mean,
it's possible.
I actually think that's exactly what they're going to do. I mean, because from the casting breakdowns, they've said that that basically the Nightwing character is going to be a cop.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
I missed that fact.
Oh, we'll go back. Wow. Carl, go back to episode whatever it was when we were talking about the original casting.
Let's go with 13.
Yeah, why not? I don't know. That seems a little too recent.
All right, 11.
Okay, perfect. It was number 11.
All right, go back to episode 11 and tell us if that's the episode.
Yeah. But yes, no. I have a feeling that that's the route that they're gonna go, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, is he gonna be? I guess he'll be a cop, and
he's got to have a day job.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, Robin has to have a day job because he's not rich. Like, how is he gonna get by? He can't just be a Teen Titan.
I mean, he's still rich. I mean, his adoptive father is a billionaire.
Was he adopted by Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
When? In the comics?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah. No, they just dropped off some kid at a reclusive billionaire's house. So here, just keep him.
I don't know. I never really read old Batman comics, and they never presented it that way in the animated series, right?
I don't think they ever really addressed it in the animated series, but I remember
he wasn't adopted in the TV series either, right? The old
because he was if I remember correctly, he was there because his Aunt Harriet worked for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
She was a housekeeper.
See, so you could see why, as someone who isn't a reader of the old comics in any way,
because there was a big
fan of Batman, I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, there was a whole thing where, I don't remember exactly when he adopted him because, it took years where he was, he was basically, Bruce Wayne's ward. Bruce Wayne was his caregiver, and then it was after a certain amount of a long time that he actually adopted him. I think it might have been in the 80s or something like that.
Oh, Lego Batman did it. So
what's that?
Lego Batman did it.
Yeah.
So they're the most accurate.
Yeah. But I just remember there was a whole thing when Tim Drake, when his parents were killed, they were killed years apart, his mother first, then his father, and then Bruce Wayne adopted him right away, and there was a whole issue where Dick Grayson was just mad at Tim Drake because he's look, I grew up with Bruce, he was my father, and it took years for him to adopt me, and it was a big deal, and then he just kind of just takes you in and adopts you right away.
Jealous.
Yeah. So
that's why he left.
Was what?
Is that why he left?
No, he left for a bunch of reasons.
And he went to Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Okay, seriously, what's up with that name?
Dude, it's a creepy noir name. Whatever.
Who would name their town, their city, Bloodhaven?
Somebody with the last name Blood.
I mean, apparently, I look. It's not spelled BLO.
No, it's BLUD.
Right.
Yeah, it's with the umlaut over the U.
But still, on this the sound of it, you're like, nah, that's a little dark sounding for our city name. Let's not go with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's go to Murderville.
And Gotham is like super bright and cheery.
No, but it doesn't actually have a meaning other than Gotham. Like, it doesn't have to. There's no word in it that is sinister on the surface. Gothic, okay, but Gothic is a style, you know.
Yeah, it's a very dark, like.
It's dark, okay. I mean, it's obviously the name is like that's why the style is that way, but. Okay, it's not like Murderville, okay?
No, but I mean, like, Bloodhaven's not...
It's a haven for blood.
Yeah, but it's not spelled
This is where
BLOD.
I want to live, in Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Let's move. Let's pack our bags and move to Bloodhaven.
Hey, that's where the jobs are.
It's where the jobs are. And the highest murder rate.
Yeah.
Because our hero is Nightwing, you know, knockoff Batman.
Yeah.
So, we're in trouble here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever really gave any thought to the name Bloodhaven. I was just like, oh, that's just where Nightwing goes.
Yeah, it's always sounded ridiculous to me.
I don't know. Like
every time I heard it.
I always just kind of took it as like, oh, that's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Look, just because you don't like comics or superheroes, Carl.
I mean, you know, Batman, not my thing.
Yeah.
Superman's all right. Why am I here?
You're like, that's it. Podcast over. Unplugs the mic.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Kiersey Clemens, the actress playing Iris West in the upcoming Flash movie,
Yep.
has made some comments recently that implies that her character is from a different timeline in that movie.
Yeah.
So here's a quote. She said, "Because of going back and forth, past and future with the Flash, you don't even know what time period you actually meet Iris." I mean,
I don't buy that.
yeah,
but
which is like, that doesn't really say that.
it sounds like nobody really knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, with those movies.
And on the status of the film, she also said, "We're in the process of still replacing our director. We just got a new script."
Yeah. So maybe just don't say anything about the script, because once you get a new director, you're probably getting a new script.
Right. So if you don't know what timeline Iris is met in, and you just got a new script, I mean, is it because you've had a couple scripts you've read and you're just not sure anymore, or is the movie has been changing so much? I mean, what does it really even matter? Because if it's a time travel movie, I mean, yeah, of course it makes sense. Characters are going to be from different timelines.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. The whole like quote doesn't make any sense to me, especially for the fact that it's Flash, or as of right now, Flashpoint. Like, because I mean, that statement could just be like, oh, if they're doing Flashpoint, do you know if you meet with her in the original timeline or the Flashpoint or the change? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a weird thing to comment on. You know, and it might just be that she's like, look, I'm just trying to stay relevant now that I'm not in Justice League.
Right, and that's the other thing. She has apparently been cut from Justice League.
Yeah.
Which also points to them, like, not really knowing what they're doing with this character.
Yeah.
And why was she in Justice League to begin with if they weren't sure how this was going to play out? And they're rewriting that script. Like, that's really problematic for that universe. As well, Lex Luthor appearance has also been cut from Justice League.
Good.
Yeah, which is great for all people who, you know, watch Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
And shed tears over that performance that we got.
I mean, I shed tears that we only got that one performance. I need more Jolly Rancher.
I would love to ask Zack Snyder, exactly why did you write that, or why did you make that scene? How did that go? Who wrote that? Why is that in the movie? Why would anybody do that? What's your explanation for that?
It's really almost as if they're like, okay, we just want to make this as creepy as possible, which they succeeded in.
I mean, creepy is one word to call it. I mean, like, bizarre and not realistic and just asinine is another way to look at it, in my opinion, because it's just something that would never happen. No one would ever do, and people don't act that way. And
no.
I don't know. I don't need to get off on a tangent. Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
But
the more we forget about that movie, the better.
Yeah. That's true. But this time period thing with her, I mean, yeah, but are they questioning whether she's going to show up? Is he going to meet her in the alternate universe for the first time, and then he's going to have to go back? Like, this is the drama, like when he changes things in the end, like he will not have known her.
Yeah.
You know, type of storyline. I could see them doing that.
Yeah. I mean,
add some more weight to like him having to go back and change things.
Yeah, because it's kind of established with his character already that he's a loner. He doesn't really have anyone in his life. So, you know, it could be just that where he meets her in the Flashpoint or whatever timeline it is, and then it's just about him trying to find her again. Which
I think we've cracked the code on that, because you make a good point about him being a loner like that. Yeah. He wouldn't really have a girlfriend, probably. Yeah. I mean, the way we see him so far. Yeah. You know, especially someone like her who's like a reporter, established person like that. Yeah. So yeah, maybe he does in his new life when he goes in Flashpoint. He has friends and family and a girlfriend, and then he has to give all that up essentially to fix all the problems that he's caused. Yeah, it would make for a good storyline.
Okay, so once they find the new director, whoever that is, I'm assuming you're listening. Let us at least crack the story. Let us at least break the story for this movie, so we can at least have one good DC movie.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I mean, I don't know if that makes it a good movie.
I mean, it at least like makes sense, like more sense than what's out there.
Right.
I still think that going back like to one of our earliest podcasts, they should just hire us to not write or break stories, but just to poke holes in their stories for them to fix.
Right.
Like, just hire us to do that. Just like give us a script or a breakdown of a script and just be like, okay, there's this, this, and this. And then we'll just tear it apart. And then you guys just fix that.
Yeah. And then they send it back to the writers. And they're like, all right. And they give them the script with all this stuff just crossed out.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, fix that.
Yeah. These pages are blank. They're like, yeah, fix that. Do it better.
Like, but you gave us nothing back. I'm like, well, yeah, everything you wrote was garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, the WB execs, man, need to start hiring some better people.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah, somebody named Brian.
Yeah, maybe a Carl or something. Yeah,
those sound like good names.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. All right. This could be fun. We got there's apparently a new Men in Black spinoff in the works.
Yeah,
it's going to be without the original stars.
Mm-hmm.
It set to release on May 17th, 2019. It already has a script.
Yep.
Steven Spielberg is set as an executive producer on the project.
Yeah.
All sounding okay so far. Now the writers.
There's
this could be an issue.
There's some highs and lows on their pedigree.
So the writers are Matt Holloway and Art Markham, who apparently work together.
Yeah, they seem to be writing partners on a lot of stuff.
Now they've written writing credits on Iron Man,
the
first one, Punisher Warzone,
mm-hmm.
and Transformers: The Last Night.
Yep.
Now I did a little digging into that, and Iron Man has 4 screenplay writing credits.
Yeah.
So there's 2 other writers on that who I don't know how much, you can never really know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how IMDb, if there's a specific order of listing, there may be. I think they do actually have a.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Who's higher in first order.
Yeah.
Of credit for it, and they're the bottom 2 on that list.
Yeah.
Now there's 3 writers on Punisher Warzone and The Last Night.
Mm-hmm.
They're the top 2 on Transformers: Last Night. So if that means anything, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't bode too well, but I mean, who knows? Men in Black's fun. I mean, I'm not gonna say that just because they wrote some bad movies.
Yeah.
Because I think also Punisher Warzone is a terrible movie.
I didn't watch it.
I watched like half of it, and it's a movie where I was like, yeah, I'm a big comic book fan, and I should watch this movie. And I got halfway through it. I'm like, no, there's no reason to watch this movie. This is just utter trash.
I was already burned by 2 Punisher movies. I didn't need a third.
Well, the one with Thomas Jane I actually kind of enjoyed it when I first saw it.
Yeah,
it's probably not a good movie.
It didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, like if I went back to watch it, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
I saw it probably in theaters, and so I was like, whatever. This is better than the Dolph Lundgren one, which as a kid I was like, yeah, this is cool because it was the only thing out there, but
and
it wasn't.
There was just something that appealed to you about naked Dolph Lundgren like meditating in the sewers.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't that appeal to?
Most people.
But it's Dolph Lundgren.
Sure.
In the sewers.
And like
maybe the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show up.
Oh my god.
Maybe he's the Rat King.
Dude, that could have only made it better.
Yeah.
That movie was so ridiculous. I mean, come on, like he didn't even have like the skull.
It was on his knife.
Yeah, it was.
That was the only thing.
Yeah, it was like the pommel on the knives. Yeah.
But he was Frank Castle, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I really like Men in Black.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed all three of the movies.
Yeah, I would say 1, 3, 2 is the order in which I enjoy them the most. But
I don't understand all the hate for 2.
I don't have any hate for it. I just like 3 more.
Yeah, and not that it's a hated movie. I think it's just generally looked at as not as good.
Yeah. For
some reason, and a lot of people don't seem to like it. But I mean, to me, it's just more of the same, and there's a lot of good stuff in there.
It was just a lot of fun.
I mean, I really loved how they had that that tape, VHS tape that was like
dude,
this reenactment of that meeting.
Dude, that whole scene with David Cross and whatever the girl's name is.
Yeah.
That whole thing just made me laugh. That was probably the funniest.
I love that.
And I just love after Jay neuralizes them and gives them the new memories, and he's like, get her a lobster dinner, spend more than $1, and move your bum ass out of your mom's house. He's like, you're 45.
Yeah, yeah.
And and they leave, and he goes like, hey, do you want to go to Iceland? She's like, sure. And then he just picks up a shovel and he's like, hey, mom.
Yeah.
And they just cut away.
They're going to kill the mother.
Yeah.
This is great.
It's so good. I love that movie.
Yeah, no, there's just a lot of good stuff in that. I liked Johnny Knoxville's role in it.
Yeah.
He's that weird alien who had with the backpack, secondary head coming out of him somewhere.
Yeah,
he was an entertaining character.
Yeah, Laura Flynn Boyle was a cool villain.
Yeah.
No, there was just a whole lot of fun to that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't really get why people didn't like that movie.
See, the first one is great. It's iconic. It's like you can't really beat it. I think I really got into it because I also had kind of similar it evoked a similar thing to Ghostbusters a little for me, which is favorite movie of mine.
Right. Okay.
So that movie I'm always going to enjoy it the most, and then. But the third one, I just really enjoyed the time travel aspect. I loved Josh Brolin as playing the young Tommy Lee Jones. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a whole lot of fun. The continuity with the neuralizer was a little wonky for me. Why is it that the brand new technology takes up a whole room and then, a half hour later it's on the guy's belt? But that was a small little nitpick. But
yeah.
But no,
And that movie had a lot of production trouble.
Yeah.
I remember that it was heavily delayed, and didn't they stop filming and had to come back to it or something like that?
I think
something weird
sounds
happened.
About right. I don't remember exactly,
but it ended up turning out to be pretty good. And it actually only saw it once, and I wouldn't mind watching it again sometime.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. It's fun.
Yeah, and I want more. I like that universe. I mean, it's very unique in that when we get alien stuff, it's usually serious.
Yeah,
and a lot of times it's more stuffy, and it's never as fun and wacky, and with cool gadgets. And they'll have alien technology always, advanced technology, but this has like crazy gadgets that are just great. I like that a lot of the show.
Yeah, and and a lot of it's even just throwaway stuff just for the gag. Even in the first movie where he shows the tiny CD or whatever. He's like, yeah, took these from whatever. It looks like I got to buy the White Album again. It's just it's so much fun, just throwaway things, and it's just good. It's just good comedy is really what it is. Also, the action is good as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like the type of action you don't normally see in those type of movies.
Yeah.
Because usually it's more just like gunplay and stuff. But like there's like physical action, things like that happening in this.
See, I think what makes it really great is, it's a thing that appeals to me about Ghostbusters a lot, and it's that it's you have the leads that are just taking everything very seriously. Like they're not cracking jokes, they're not being being funny. They're just reacting to like ridiculous situations.
Yeah.
And there's funny things happening around them. I mean, the worm guys are always funny and all that stuff. Like, the different celebrities you see up on the board for who are aliens. Like that's, that's always a fun joke, especially seeing like Rick Baker, the guy who did all the makeup effects.
There's a lot of good sight gags in this.
Yeah. But, and I think it's like the serious commitment to both the sci-fi and the comedy that really pulls off those movies.
And even if you ever saw the animated series, was pretty good too.
Yeah, there was only one thing that bothered me, like in every episode.
What's that?
And it's like a dopey thing that was like a trait of Saturday morning cartoons that were made based off of movies, where they try and continue like a joke from the movie into the show that doesn't really make sense. Where, like, I just remember like every episode they're like, FBI Division 6, Department of Public Services Division 6. It's like, okay, you don't have to do that ever. You don't have to do that all the time.
All right.
It's like not everything is Division 6. Like that got a little to me. But,
yeah, I mean it's fine. It doesn't.
But it's such a petty, stupid thing to bug me. But it's just something that stuck out. But I did watch the show in its entirety. Yeah.
And the show actually basically continued the story from the movie.
Yeah, from the first movie,
and
right?
They had the girl
Elle
as one of the main characters.
Yeah. Which
the movies just were like, nah, forget it. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they at least like gave a line explaining what happened to her.
Right,
like, it just wasn't for her, so she just went back to working at the morgue.
Yeah. Which, I mean, whatever. I mean, that's at least you make a point to reference it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they turned out to be good movies. So.
Yeah. Did you ever read the comics?
Definitely not.
No. No. They're actually decent, and surprisingly, the first movie holds up pretty well to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the
what was the brand on that? Who is
it? Was like an indie comic that was like put out through a Marvel imprint.
Okay.
I think it was like Malibu Comics put it out.
Okay, Malibu, yeah.
But yeah, like the first few issues were all about aliens. Eventually, like it went into like other like paranormal things like werewolves and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it was a short-lived comic. It was maybe only like 6 issues, but it was good. I liked it.
All right. Yeah, so obviously we're both happy that this is coming back.
Yeah.
We're not going to get that awesome like 21 Jump Street crossover idea.
No, that would have been so much fun though.
Yeah, because the two of them would have been fantastic. Channing Tatum and
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
I thought they were a great pairing in that movie, and I think they would be the exact perfect pairing in a Men in Black movie. But that's fine. Hopefully, we get some good casting for whatever this is going to be.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one I got here. Okay. Sorry to everyone listening if you don't like this, but this is definitely not superhero related, and I just wanted to comment on it. I think it was funny.
I'm just showing Carl the cover of the first.
Oh yeah, the
Black
cover.
Comic.
It's very different than what I expect.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it's a very like kind of a little cartoony but very dark like black and white comic. But
it's like actually reminded me of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics. That art.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's very much from around the same time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like here's where like they're recruiting Jay, and he's like getting his fingerprints like burnt off and stuff like that. So like all that stuff is like straight out of the comic. It's a fairly faithful adaptation.
That's good.
I'm gonna see if I can try and find.
While we're talking, this is just so much fun for all our listeners.
The neuralizer looked like a flashlight. I forgot about that.
That like a flashlight? No.
Yeah. No, it's like
like a regular flashlight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's fine. I mean, they made something probably a little bit better.
For the movie?
Yeah, for the movie.
Yeah.
All right, back to my non-superhero story, which everyone I'm sure is so excited to hear about.
Yeah.
So, if anybody saw the Nice Guys movie, They are, which is the one with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, which very few people did, but I would highly recommend because it's a fantastic movie. It's a great buddy cop action comedy movie.
Like, I have had so many people recommend that movie to me, and I have just never watched it.
It was absolutely one of my favorite movies that year. It's one of the best. It's fantastic. It's worth watching, and I want a sequel, but apparently that might not be happening because instead we're getting it adapted to a TV series that's going to be a female-led buddy cop series. Sure.
Like, I have no investment in this, so...
Even if you don't, like, the reason I want to talk about this is really, like, this whole idea of adapting movies into TV series, you know, like Taken and Lethal Weapon. What else recently? I don't have another one coming off to my head right now, but and especially the idea, which we've seen in movies, where they're turning like a male-led thing into a female-led thing. Mm-hmm. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
We don't need that. Like, I understand...
Like, just make female-led properties on their own.
Right.
Like, you don't need to reboot Ocean's 11 into, Ocean's 8?
Right. And that's going to be an all-female version. Like, yeah. I mean, look, okay. In that case, is it so bad? I don't know, because no one gives a crap, and it's not even serious at this point, and you know, they're not going to make another Ocean's movie. I mean, whatever. But like,
dude, I really like those Ocean's movies.
Yeah, they're fun. Yeah, they're all right. But like, because that one might ends up being fun, but I guess the idea is like pigeonholing the fact that it has to be all women.
Yeah,
is just silly, because. You know, if you want to make the argument that all the other movies are all men, why don't women get their share? But like, they're both being unrealistic.
Yeah,
it should be a mix of men and women.
Yeah.
Okay, Ghostbusters. I would have been happy if it was 2 men and 2 women,
or any mix. Like, I don't care.
Right? It doesn't need to be all men, but like, you're purposely taking this idea and making it something that it isn't.
Yeah, and I will say. Not in defense, but an explanation of Ocean's 11 being an all-male cast. It's a remake from a movie from like the 40s.
Right.
It's a Rat Pack movie. Mm-hmm. And they were not really all about equality. But yeah. So I mean, they're just they were remaking a classic, gangster heist movie. So that's why that was an all-male cast.
Yeah.
But even that, I would have been completely fine with them, bringing women into it. And,
Right. I mean, they should have had the wherewithal back then when they made the remake to say, hey, some of these characters could be female.
Yeah.
There's no reason why. They have to all be exactly the same. Well, I don't know how exact. I don't mean exact. I didn't see the original. But I mean, all have to be the same gender, of course.
Yeah. But then, because that was Steven Soderbergh, right? Who did
Soderbergh.
Same guy who did Magic Mike, right? Yeah.
Sounds right.
So now, would I be wrong to say that I want an all-female cast of a Magic Mike remake?
We've probably had that movie before.
Yeah, probably too much.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are they going to do that?
Yeah.
Magic Mary? Michelle? Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. But I don't just like you said, dude, just have it be a good mix of the right people and it'll be a good movie.
Exactly. Yeah, turning it into a TV series, I'm like, look, okay, and not enough people actually saw The Nice Guys. Okay, as good as it was, as highly rated as it was.
Yeah.
And now you're going to make it, what are you going to call it? The Nice Gals? I mean, is anybody going to look at that and be like, oh, that's that movie that I never saw and have any attachment to it? What does it matter? It's silly.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Even like Taken was popular, but by the time you got to the 3rd movie, I don't think people cared anymore.
No.
And then they made a show and nobody cared again.
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon, I mean, I hear that one's okay, but
I think I watched the first episode and it was all right, but it wasn't good enough for me to just pick up yet another show. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Sometimes maybe just let a franchise die, or if you want to do, I'm not opposed to an all-female led show or a female heavy led show or something like that. Like I don't, as long as it's good, I don't.
I mean, Buffy was mostly female leads. I mean, all the heroes were pretty much females, right?
No.
It was Buffy and
there was Buffy and Willow, but then you also
right.
had Giles and Xander.
Yeah, but they were.
But then they
like
also had
sidekicks.
Angel, Spike, Oz.
Yeah. Well,
Riley.
They were like sidekicks, right? But then you had the other girl,
Slayer.
Yeah, the other Slayer girl. What's her name?
Faith. There was Kendra, and then there was Faith.
Yeah, so like they were all females. Like,
well, yeah, all the Slayers were female.
Right. So all the heroes of that.
Well, not all, because
the main powered heroes of any sort. All right.
Well, no, because you still had Angel, who was
He's a vampire. All right.
Yeah, and he was one of the heroes.
He became a hero. He was a villain to start.
Then but then the gypsies gave him his soul back, and then he became a hero.
I can't win this because I don't know enough about the show.
Dude, watch the show, okay? He was a hero enough to get his own show.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, I mean,
like, these
like you're not
do
wrong.
Exist,
See, no, like I'm making jokes, but like Buffy is a perfect example of a female-led show where it's very inclusive on who takes on the roles. Essentially, like one of the male leads on the show is the damsel in distress. It's like Xander on the show. He's the damsel in distress, and like it wasn't really until we had this conversation right now that's dawning on me, because I just liked his character the same way I liked Buffy's character and I liked Willow's character. Willow started off as kind of the nerdy girl, but she found empowerment through multiple things in her life throughout the show, and it had a really strong ending. It really is a good example of how to do like a female-led show right. Yeah. And I don't even want to say a female-led show right, like an inclusive show right, where they do a good job.
You wouldn't have called it that.
Yeah.
Back then, we're referencing it that way, but it was just a show and it was popular.
Yeah, it was just a good show.
That's how it should be. You shouldn't have to say like this is the female version of something. This is the female-led version. Like that's not what we're trying to do here. We're going to talk about the Tomb Raider trailer coming up later. Like I'm not looking at it and saying that's the female Indiana Jones.
No.
Even though it's sort of, but it's not, because it's been its own thing for so long as far as the video games go.
And let's be honest, Harrison Ford did look better in those shorts.
So yeah, there's ways to do these things to create you create an original character. Yeah. That is a female. Yeah. And that's fine. There's no reason that you have to change an old property, and I know that's like you make a quick buck because it's easier that way.
Yeah. Well, because I think we might. I don't remember if we talked about it on here, but and I don't know if it's stalled or if it's still going forward, but the Magnum PI reboot where it's his daughter.
Oh, God.
I mean, like, that's one way. It's not, like, a good way to do it, but it's one way to do it.
It's a little better than just saying, like, the new Magnum PI is a female. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's a way to still kind of, respect a property. Because it does bother me when they do a reboot. I think the best reboot was Star Trek, where it still paid respect to what happened before. It was still it still was in that same universe, kind of. It wasn't like, hey, we're just gonna throw it all out and do our own thing. Right. So I don't know.
All right. Now speaking of movies that are getting back to TV series, one that we were just talking about not doing that, but Watchmen. Yeah. Is apparently the HBO whatever version that this is going to happen has been ordered to a pilot.
Yeah, and it's all female. No,
it's an all female.
It's an all female.
It's all reversed.
Yeah.
So like
So Dr. Manhattan's
a female.
Yeah.
Rorschach's a female.
Night Owl's a female. Yeah. Silk Spectre's a dude. Yeah. Comedian's a female.
Yeah. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still watch it.
Well, yeah, but it probably wouldn't be good.
It depends on how it is, because like I still like, and then we can go back to the story. But if something's written right, it doesn't really matter who. It doesn't really matter particularly the gender that you cast for it, as long as the story's good, the writing's good, and the players are good. I'm not going to say actor or actress. And the perfect example I'll use is Star Wars. I think I've said it here before. I know I've said it to you in the past. The very first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, A New Hope, or Star Wars, whatever you want to call it, if you watch it, there's really nothing gender specific about any of the characters outside of the pronouns. Mm-hmm. If you put equally strong actors in each of those roles, it's just going to be as interesting of a story, if Luke is a female and Leia is a male.
Yeah. And that makes sense, and that works. It works for a sci-fi story like that in a world that doesn't exist, right? Well, no,
I think it works. I think it works kind of across the board, because there was maybe 5 years ago, and again we'll go back to the Watchmen thing. There was a thing that came out where they did. It was like an all-female cast, like live reading of the script of The Hangover, and they're like, and it was just as funny with women reading those lines, as it was with men. And it's like, yeah, because it's a funny movie and there's nothing gender specific about any of those characters.
The Hangover?
There's really nothing if you think about it, there's really not much in there, with the exception of maybe, what's his name? The guy they kidnap in the trunk, Mr. Chow.
Oh yeah.
But otherwise,
Ken Jeong or something.
Ken Jeong, thank you. But otherwise, it's not about we're dudes and all of this stuff. It's literally just about three people trying to find a friend. So again, outside, you could just change the pronouns, and if you just have as strong actors in there.
I mean, what I was gonna say, and I totally disagree.
But the thing that I'll say is you can't do that with Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Because that is very gender specific.
Right. And I don't like that movie.
Bridesmaids?
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I didn't really relate to it because it was so gender specific. Right. But
my fiance loves that movie, and I get it. If you're a woman, I see why you would like this. But as a man, a lot of that stuff, I'm like, it's not. I don't get it. I don't. None of that stuff is relevant to me in my life. And I can't. I don't find it as funny as someone else would, or as a woman would.
Yeah. And it's fine. Not everything has to be for everyone. And that's totally cool. I'm totally cool with not appreciating that movie.
No, what I was going to say was that I mostly agree, but in the real world, if you're trying to paint real world characters, in most cases, men and women act certain ways differently that are gender specific. Yeah. So to try to act like that doesn't exist at all in the real world is also not exactly correct. Yeah. In many situations it shouldn't matter. Yeah. But there are things that we do in life that are either masculine or feminine. Either male or female could take either side of that, but to just erase it completely is foreign and alien. That's why it works in Star Wars, because it's a totally different universe. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. They wouldn't have the same sort of tropes that men and women would have in our world. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's, it's just one of those things. It's very difficult to write, and I think it's very polarizing, and I mean, for the most part, you should be writing the roles gender neutral. Yeah. And then when you decide, if you change, let's say the gender changes because of casting, then maybe you add in a line or two that relates to that gender. But otherwise, unless there's something mostly that. Yeah, unless there's something specific in the story, where, because you're probably not writing The Notebook. Yeah, exactly. with it being gender neutral. I mean, I'm sure if you're writing a love story, you can't just change it from a straight love story to a homosexual love story. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not so easily changed. I don't know, but we were talking about Watchmen. Watchmen, that's right. Right, and there's not much else to say. It's happening. The pilot's happening. It hasn't been ordered to series yet, so they're making a pilot. Yeah, so at least we know that will eventually leak, if nothing else. Yeah. Well, we hope so. Yeah, and that's great, because for HBO to do this, that's awesome. Because HBO does great work. Yeah, and Damon Lindelof kind of heading this. I think is kind of cool. I think
like I have a little bit of love-hate with some of his stuff, but
yeah,
he's had success with HBO because he had Leftovers, which was fairly popular, and and he had all that success with Lost, even though that show I think failed largely due to, well, it didn't fail, it was hugely successful, but I think the failings of that show weren't his. So
I mean, I'm surprised that the gravy train hasn't come on for these networks like HBO and Showtime, who make these higher end shows, even Stars. Although Stars has American Gods, which you could argue is kind of it's a comic book type story. It's based on a book, but it's very comic book. The author writes comic books.
Neil Gaiman.
So it's very superhero-y comic book. But none of those networks haven't really been doing that, and there's tons of those things out there, and like they're popular, they make money, so you'd think that they would have happened sooner. So maybe this opens the door. Maybe if this does really well, maybe DC is like, you know what, HBO, you could do a Batman TV series.
It's like do Killing Joke the series, or
just in general, like we don't get a live action Batman series because it's basically not allowed. So maybe we do that. Or maybe we get Batman Beyond there or something like that. Or
dude, I'd be super. I'd be super happy with that.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice if one of these properties ended up at a premium. And Netflix actually, what I think
counting. Let me just quick. I'm saying Netflix. I don't count with this because Netflix doesn't have the budget that these shows do. And the production value is good, but. And they've gotten much better, but again, the budget's not there.
No, I was just going to say, because it just popped in my head, I think one of the best DC characters to give to like Showtime or Stars or not Netflix, HBO, or is Cinemax even around still?
But they don't have, I don't think they have the level of prestige in their original programming.
I just didn't know they still existed or not. But I think one of the best properties to give to them is The Question. Like, they could do a really cool modern noir thing. Like they could bring in a bunch of other heroes, alongside. They could do some really fun, like crazy conspiracy stuff with them.
I don't know. I wouldn't be what I would want for one of those networks, but
but I mean, and not that I don't
work on Netflix type thing. Because you wouldn't need a big budget for that.
No. But I think that's also would be like a good like gateway to get them to start doing it. Like Watchmen, I could see them pulling the plug just because it might turn out to be like an effects heavy thing depending on what they do with Dr. Manhattan. Who is probably, I think, arguably the only one of the Watchmen with superpowers. Unless you count like Ozymandias as, being like.
So they say, right, that he has like super speed, sort of. But...
he has like Captain America level agility, possibly, and he's the smartest person in the world. We'll
see how they present it, because in the Watchmen, I didn't read the comics. I don't know if like how super they really make them, but
they don't.
In the movie, for sure, they all seem to have superhuman ability. Because like there's that scene in the alleyway where they're like breaking everyone's arms and legs and stuff, and I'm like, that's not normal. You can't do that. So we'll see how that goes. And like Rorschach like takes unbelievable amounts of beatings, things like that. So who knows what the realistic.
Oh, he's able to do it because he was an abused child.
And the fight between the comedian and Ozymandias in the beginning when he's killed.
Spoilers.
Is very superhero-esque. Like, it doesn't seem like regular people could do that stuff. So, and I like that. It's fine, because I don't believe that you can have a troupe of, Batmans as your heroes. Who just don't have powers and just have skills. Like, that's doesn't work in the real world, because, things like guns and stuff would stop that easily. So... I like superpowers, obviously. That's why I like this. Why I do the show. I'm a fan of superhero stuff. I always want special powers, super abilities.
Dude, I'm the same.
And that's why I don't really like Batman that much. He's a fine character, but I prefer if there is a character like that, there's like one. He should be the oddball.
You just prefer that if there is a Batman, it's Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Because he can fly.
Yeah, well, he's Iron Man in that.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. He's got like a soft Iron Man suit,
right, and that's a superpower in my opinion, in a way.
Yeah.
That's why I loved the line, the one line that I really loved in the
trailer?
Justice League trailer, where Flash is like, what's your superpower to Bruce Wayne? He's like, I'm rich. I'm like, yeah, that's your superpower, buddy. Yeah. That's all you got. Like, but it's funny and it's very on point, and that's how it should be. There should just be that one guy who's like that guy who everyone's like, what's his power? What does he do? Like, how is he here with us?
Yeah.
And that makes him more amazing. That's what makes Batman so amazing. He's able to keep up with those people.
Yeah.
But then when you got like Nightwing and Batgirl and every other side non-powered person trying to do the same thing, it becomes less special.
Yeah. Well, that's why I've said my preference on Batman is that he's a street level hero. Like, I like him being the vigilante. I don't necessarily care about him saving the world.
Right.
Like, I like him on the streets, like fighting muggers and fighting, like, other street level, like, crime bosses and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Daredevil should not be fighting with the Avengers. He doesn't
but
have.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
because they need extra people to help fight Thanos.
Exactly.
So they need all those guys.
He's gonna be on the street level, okay, fighting off some random other crap. They're gonna just be a scene where you got Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, Daredevil and Iron Fist, and they're just like battling some cannon fodder enemies.
Yeah. Like, let's be honest, like Luke Cage and Iron Fist probably could and maybe should be fighting alongside the Avengers.
No, Luke Cage, yes.
Iron Fist,
he
dude,
his fist, yes, it has the potential to damage anybody, really, right?
Yeah.
It's he could probably knock the Hulk out for a minute, I don't know about a minute, but he could hit him across the room, with that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I can imagine, right? Like he would affect the Hulk if he punched him with that fist. But
the Hulk does have fairly undefined.
Right, but is that enough? Like otherwise he's just a martial artist.
Yeah,
he's got that one trick essentially. Yeah, even Jessica Jones, like, I don't know the level of her super strength and her flight. So, like, she's marginally, like, she might be able to hang with them a little bit. But I don't know her level.
Okay.
But she definitely, no, considering,
okay,
forget it.
Let's
not
get
into
honest.
Okay. I know what you're probably going to say.
Hawkeye and Black Widow?
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Okay, let's be honest. With the exception of maybe Daredevil, the other three defenders are way more powerful.
You're right. That's
okay.
True. But they know. Okay, that's very true. It's just that maybe we don't need too many of them. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. It's the same argument I was making with Batman. Like, you can't have too many of those characters.
Yeah.
It's like we already got them, and like if one of them leaves, maybe they take their place. Iron Fist can take Black Widow's place.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind. And Daredevil could take, Hawkeye's place. I mean,
yeah,
but like to have all of them in there, it's too many weak characters that have to be, like, I don't know, babysit in a way. You have to worry about how they're gonna fight these certain things. I mean, I don't know.
And for all intents and purposes, Jessica Jones, because it's Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand should all technically be stronger than Captain America too.
Well,
because he's only
not stronger.
Well, with the ability. Because Captain America, I know they kind of they exaggerate it for the movies and a lot of times in the comics, but he's only supposed to be at peak human physical condition.
Yeah, which I don't buy. Like that.
No, he's super strong. Yeah, he has.
I feel like that's like a really old comic book explanation. But his ability.
But anytime that you look at like a breakdown of his ability, like that's all it's ever listed. It's never listed as any kind of enhanced strength or super strength or anything like that. So, but I mean, as far as I know, even like those people in those bodybuilding competitions where like flipping the tires and doing all that ridiculous like feats of strength stuff, they can't rip a log in half like he did.
Right.
which was a cool scene.
Yeah.
I
like that.
Yeah. Like, it was a cool visual. Like, but
I mean, look, in the first movie, you see him lifting a motorcycle with 3 girls on it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, there's nobody that could do that in the real world.
Okay, Carl, it was for a stage show. They clearly didn't have the gas in the tank, so it weighed a few pounds less.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be ridiculous, all right?
So... Oh, he flips the motorcycle in Avengers 2.
Yeah.
He's riding it, and he flips off of it and throws it. Like, no, you can't...
That's all momentum. That's just momentum, Carl. Anyone could do that.
So, I like that aspect, that version of Captain America. Because, again, I love superpowers. Like, even the lower level powers. Like, that's more interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'd rather have him be, like, super strong, but...
Mm-hmm. And there's interest in that. And Daredevil, like, I like Daredevil a lot because he has a different power set. Like, that makes him interesting to watch. And when they exploit it and use it in an interesting way, it makes for good television. And that's probably why his show is the best. Yeah. Because his power is unique, and there's cool things you can do with it. Like Luke Cage is very much like, okay, he's super strong and bulletproof. Like, all right, like, there's not that much interesting you can do with that, other than the few times. Like, you've seen it once, you've seen it all before with that ability. And Jessica Jones is the same way, but her character gives her more depth and makes her more interesting in that. Yeah. And Iron Fist, again, he's just a martial artist. Like, we've seen that before. And his fist is cool. Mm-hmm. There's some cool stuff they do with that, but they could do more. Yeah. Did they do the healing thing with it? I think they did. Yeah. 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 So, like, there's that. So there's a little bit to it, but it's not enough. Like, that's why I sort of believe that Iron Fist and Luke Cage, they should just make one show for them. Yeah. And team them up.
I think I'm not opposed to that.
Like, I don't really necessarily need more seasons of that on their own because, like I said, they don't have enough interesting aspects of their abilities on their own. Yeah. So we're way off. I don't know what we were talking about. So let's move on really quickly.
I think we were talking about Watchmen still.
Yeah, right. All right. So the next Terminator movie has a release date.
Finally.
Yeah. July 26th, 2019.
That's way too long. I'm out.
Not far off from the Men in Black movie. So we're going to get a new Men in Black and a new Terminator within 2 months of each other. And Linda Hamilton is set to return.
Yeah, which I'm interested to see how she returns, like what the continuity is, but I'm excited for it. I like I like her, I like Sarah Connor.
Yeah, and again, really quick, the facts on this movie. Of course, we got Tim Miller, director of Deadpool, directing this movie. James Cameron is working on the project in some way, aspect. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is also coming back. Yeah. Now, it's said that they are going to ignore everything. I think we went over this, but ignoring everything after Terminator 2, essentially. Yeah. So, having Linda Hamilton back makes sense because at that point it's unresolved what would happen to her. Yeah, like, as far as we know, they've stopped or postponed Judgment Day. She's still alive, the T-800 has just been melted down, so I mean it could go in any direction, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, my hope for the movie is sort of something different, like Skynet. Like, maybe it's inevitable, right? That happens at some point, but now it happens later at a different point in a different way. Yeah, maybe there's no longer. I mean, it's hard to...
that's literally every Terminator movie that came past Terminator 2.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But it's hard to... Like, I don't want it to be an explanation of, the future war or... Yeah. Or explaining how, we got to this point or another time travel thing. Like, you kind of could just leave out time travel. I mean, that's essentially part of it, but... Yeah. Because then, I mean, unfortunately, you can't just say there is no time travel because... With the Terminator still alive and there, how can you say that exists and happened? Yeah, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's character can't be there if time travel doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest.
It's like, can you say? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I've already, detailed in this podcast in the past what they should be doing with this movie, and it's airtight. that they're just tying it together with the Twins franchise.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, we already had thoughts about this, but
yeah, I mean, like, no, you're you're right though. I mean, I want it to be different, but I want it to have, the similar elements. Like, they have a very, very difficult road ahead of them.
Yeah, well, because actually, the Terminator's dead, right?
Yeah,
he was at the end of 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's completely melted. All the remnants from Cyberdyne are gone. They destroyed the arm from the first movie, the chip from the first movie.
Yeah, so you could go on in that timeline and just say, like, there's no more time travel, right? Like, that essentially closed that loop.
Well,
right?
That's the thing, though. They've never said... Did they? I can't remember if they've ever... Because I don't remember in the original 2 movies if they ever said, like, if the machines developed time travel or if people did. Like, I don't remember if they've ever set up...
No, wasn't it in Genesis? Didn't the machines create it and then they...
Yeah, but that stuff doesn't exist anymore, so...
Yeah, right.
So I don't know if, like, it developed independent... If, like, humans developed it and it was just a thing that they were developing alongside Skynet.
I don't know. Maybe it is briefly mentioned, but I don't know for sure.
Because it might be one of those things where it's, like, in the prologue from the first movie when Kyle Reese is talking and he's like, the machines had just developed time travel, perfected time travel, and we broke into one of their facilities. Like, I can't remember if that's...
Yeah, although it is...
Oh, man, now I have another excuse to watch Terminator again.
Although it wouldn't make sense that they could only send organic material. It would make sense that humans...
Yeah.
That, right? Because why would they create time travel that could only send back...
Organic. So, yeah, it would have had to have been the humans that developed time travel.
So, right?
Yeah.
And then they found a way to get around that.
But... Yeah, by putting, the human husk over the...
Right. Which seems like kind of a convenient loophole.
Also, here's the thing that I never really understood. Why didn't they just... And this is kind of gross, but, like... If they could only send back organic material, why didn't they just wrap, like, some of their laser guns in meat? Like, not to be horrible, but why didn't they just... Why didn't they just... Well, yeah, because they had, like... they had, like, lasers and, like, all these really advanced weapons in the future. Why didn't they... And, like, don't get me wrong, I have a dog. I love animals. But, like, why didn't they just kill a dog or get a dog? Like, because they had German Shepherds all over the place because they were using them to, tell who were Terminators and not. Why didn't they just take one of them, like, kind of, take out the guts and put weapons in,
hollow it out,
and and send that back with them? It, like, because you'll go, it would work.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Like, it would work. So why didn't they do that? And then he's got, like, all the guns he needs. Like,
James Cameron is not that sick of a man. Okay.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that. James Cameron, you heard the beginning of the podcast. You know how to reach me on Twitter. Carl and I will volunteer our services. Well, not volunteer. We'll work for a very reasonable rate to poke holes in all of your writing, so you can fix it.
But no, James Cameron doesn't need our help. He knows what he's doing.
I don't know. Did you see Avatar?
I did. It's a very good movie. Now, I would say... one thing I would say is, like, unobtainium, really? Like, that's the name he came up with?
Well, he didn't come up with that. That's just, like, a name of a made-up, like, element that they just throw in to movies.
Well, like, he allowed that to be in his film. Yeah. Okay.
Like, sometime look it up. It's like, look it up on, like, Wikipedia. It has a list of every, like, movie and TV show from
really?
For years that they've listed unobtainium as
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Huh. I really hope I'm not just, making that up.
Other than that, like, that's I don't think the writing is weak in any part of that movie. Like, it's not completely original, but there's a lot of cool, interesting stuff going on.
No, it was a fine movie. I just think it's way too dry for me to ever watch a second time.
It was on TV the other day. I was watching it, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's something I could watch if it's like, if I caught it, like, halfway through, I could get through, but I don't think I could ever just, like, sit down and put it on and, like, watch it intently.
I could. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
The visual effects are a little are showing a little bit of wear. You
Yeah.
know, like they're still good.
Yeah.
But
They're showing a little age.
Yeah, you could definitely look at it now and say, all right, they could do better. And actually, I'm very excited, and I guess I'll bring that to one of our next stories.
Yeah.
That the sequels have finally started filming.
Yep.
And you know, I'm going to be happy to see the level of visual effects we get in the next movie. How much better that's going to be.
Yeah, I'm a little indifferent to that because I just have a level of expectations for like visual effects in movies and stuff. So that's something that I kind of just like take on a case to case basis when it comes to this. But like, I'm really interested to see what the story is going to be because I feel like they've wrapped it up nicely from the first movie. It's a very, as far as the story goes, like, and any shots that I might take at the movie for it just being kind of like long and dry, like there's like, it is a very well put together self-contained movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that, but I would also say the same about Terminator 1.
Yeah.
And we all know what happened with the sequel.
Yeah, you got a better movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
I have very high expectations for this sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, James Cameron, I think he's amazing.
Yeah. He is good at sequels because Aliens is good.
Yeah.
Titanic 2 is decent. No.
So I expect, and this is his baby.
Yeah.
And he's got 4 sequels for some reason.
Dude.
Now, very excessive. But
he's been working on these movies forever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's excessive, but look, he's got to have a plan.
Yeah.
Obviously. And his original writing stuff has been great. So
yeah.
I expect this to have a reason for there to be 4 sequels to this movie.
Yeah.
And I imagine there is a vast part of this that we don't really know. And this we only saw the beginning, and yet you could look at that as a self-contained movie.
Yeah.
But there are things in there that you can look at and say, all right, this could go somewhere, that could go somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
This is a whole nother world that we're on. There is still the human world.
Yeah.
And how are they going to react to what happened there? You know, how you got the implications of the planet essentially being a network, a connected network.
Yeah.
An organic network that they can access, and like that's a sort of different direction of technology that doesn't exist.
So the second movie, instead of them going for unobtainium, they're trying to figure out a way to graft those tails onto humans.
I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if there was not a grafting, but a technological version that a human can use to access that network.
Yeah, dude, they had it in the first movie. Like,
to
get into the avatars.
You have to get into the avatar to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, without that whole avatar program, because in the movie it explains that those are incredibly expensive things to create.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes a lot of work to make that exist. And
yeah.
It only so happens that he had a twin brother and that he could use that avatar.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, yeah, poof, there's an avatar, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that whole program is probably done at this point.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
You know, and it probably like developed I imagine it's probably going to go the route of something developed out of it because of how
a more militaristic version.
Yeah.
Right. To fight back against them. I mean, I think there's all these great ideas I think that could come out of this.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure the movies are going to be good. I mean, James Cameron has yet to make a movie I haven't enjoyed, you know, that I've seen. Mm-hmm. Like, he's made movies I haven't seen, but
The Abyss is it a good movie?
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. Trying to think of other James Cameron movies. Nope, that's about it.
Yeah, right. Not coming to mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm excited. They did the only little tidbit of info we have about this is that they've cast several young actors, 3 of which are children to Jake and Neytiri's character,
mm-hmm.
and some other children from the other clan. But
yeah.
So I mean, it's obviously several years in the future. You know, because the actors, they look, at least some of them might be as old as 10, 15 maybe.
Yeah.
Some of them, I don't know which ones are particularly his kids, but so a lot of time has passed. So
yeah, and I mean, it's been what, like, it's probably close on 8 years since the first one came out.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah,
maybe more. I'll look it up right now. That'll be quick. 2009.
2009. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people really undersell this movie nowadays. I don't really know why. I know it's not. It does feel self-contained. I know it's not a movie that you have like a lot of merchandise and like spin-offs and character stuff that people really latch on to, but like it was a phenomenon when this movie came out, and people saw this multiple times in theaters. People really loved it. It was
a big deal when this movie came out. And James Cameron broke his own record for highest grossing movie. But I don't even want to say it's a fear, because I'm not really all that invested in it. Is that it's going to be like a Matrix thing, because the first Matrix movie, it's a really good movie. It's a really fun movie. Yeah. It was like one of those event movies where everyone was like, "Oh, you got to see it." It was it was
one of those. For sure.
And it's also a very well done, self-contained movie where you can watch that, and where that ends, it's like, okay, I'm satisfied where this movie ends. It could go on to other stories, but I'm very content with how this movie ends. Like, same thing with Avatar. And then you got two movies that were really not that good, that were basically just the Wachowskis telling you their views on Jesus.
Well, and you can look at that in the way that the Wachowskis just aren't good.
Yeah.
Like, they had one good property, one good thing they made.
Speed Racer.
What?
Speed Racer,
yeah. And they, largely, a lot of that was lifted from other, fiction.
Which actually, outside of The Matrix, and this really has nothing to do with the point, but have the Wachowskis done anything that isn't, like, just making other property? Because they did V for Vendetta, Speed Racer, Cloud Atlas, those were all like books and TV shows and stuff.
Cloud Atlas. Oh, V for Vendetta is a really good movie.
It was fun.
But they didn't create that. Again, that's an adaptation.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, outside of The Matrix, everything they've done has been an adaptation.
Yeah. And even The Matrix, you could argue, it's not a direct adaptation. There was this great thing I saw. Was it a YouTube video explaining like all the stuff that they stole from this comic book series or something like that?
Was it The Invisibles?
Yeah, is that the one? I think yeah. I was like, wow, like they really, really did steal that.
Yeah, well, because I think it was that, and then also I think they were saying that they pulled a lot of stuff from Akira.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, True Lies. That's James Cameron.
Oh, okay.
Which
I thought you were like, no, they stole a lot of stuff from True Lies.
Which is not on the level of these other movies, but it's a beloved movie.
Yeah.
I don't particularly love it, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So let's see. Speaking of Akira.
Yeah.
Segue.
Taika
Waititi is apparently in talks to direct a live-action adaptation of Akira.
Yeah.
Which is something that has been long talked about. Many different directors and people have been attached to this as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to talk about relating to this is really the idea of adapting anime into live action. And we briefly probably talked about it during Ghosts in the Shell.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea in this is that, are all these characters, are they all going to be Asian, if you make a live action movie?
Yeah.
I mean, how would you want that? Is that what they should do,
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, cast whoever you want.
Have you seen Akira?
No. I tried, like, some of my friends, like, I never got into anime.
Yeah.
And some of my friends in high school tried to get me to watch it, and I couldn't get into it. And, like, I never read the manga of it.
That's something I want to go back and read.
Yeah.
Because I liked the movie. I thought it was very interesting. The end gets a little crazy, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in there that I would like more information about.
Yeah.
I think the manga goes into more.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it is like takes place in a futuristic, like Japan, like Tokyo type place, but it's does that mean that every character has to be Asian? And would it be so bad if they were to cast all Asian actors to play the majority of the main characters?
No,
no, it wouldn't. And like, I've argued that
unless there's something specific about any of these characters, unless like there's something specific about like one of the characters that needs them to be Japanese or Asian, because then you also get into the whole argument that I think we might have discussed, where like, how far do you want to go with it? Like, if all these characters are Japanese because it's a Japanese property, do you cast all Japanese people? Or is it just any Asian person? Like, are you cool with Korean? Because that is something that people will make an argument about.
Yeah.
Because, like, Japan is a country just like America, but, are you just going off of, like, how they look, or are you going off of culture? Like, and that's not really something I can speak to or necessarily care about. Like,
yeah, it's a tough one, because
as long as you have good people in these roles and it's not something that impacts the story, I don't care.
Yeah, because visually, anime characters don't look Asian.
No.
But culturally, they are Asian.
Yeah. In
almost all of the works, because most of the time they take place in Japan or something like a place like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I would say if you're gonna do this movie, like, you probably should have your two leads, of course, Akira and not Akira. Well, what's his name? Kaneda and Tetsuo.
Sure.
Are the main guys. And of course you can't have a white guy named Tetsuo.
Yeah.
that's just bizarre, but
unless he was adopted.
Yeah, right. So
why is that bizarre? Like, I had, I growing up, like, I had friends, like, I had a Korean friend, his name is Will. So why is that weird?
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah, explain your racism.
Well, you could have a white guy growing up in Japan, I guess, named that. Okay.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do that either, because that would be wrong. People would be mad about that.
Yeah. I mean, people are going to be, let's be honest, with how well loved Akira is, no matter what, people are going to be pissed about it.
I think the smart thing to do with this, it would be to make the main leads Japanese American actors. Like, that's fine. And then any other character that's in the movie, like, just, you got to look at the type of character they are, and what their relation is to where they live, and if you can decide that it's okay to change that character.
Yeah.
Right. Because there are, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I could say there are several other characters in that don't necessarily have to be, Asian actors and Asian people. There's military leaders in that don't have to be, scientists and whatnot. Well, it could be of other races. So you could have other characters that are significant.
I'm really noticing a theme with this podcast today.
What?
Just about that we just want everything to be all inclusive. But
equality. Take a knee.
Yeah. I don't think take a knee is about equality, is it?
They've co-opted it to be about equality now.
Okay.
But it's about racial equality.
Yeah, racial equality.
So,
which,
specifically.
But, if this, going back to the point of this, like, my preference would be that if this takes place in a futuristic world, that everything would be, like, mixed races and stuff like that. Because, like, that's kind of the point we're getting to. Or that we should be getting to, where it's not like everything isn't going to be like, even if it's just like geographically or culturally segregated, like you would have, like, you do have like white people living in Japan and, like black people living over there. And, like why wouldn't you just have like a whole mix of different people? Like to me, it would be more believable for like a futuristic thing, unless something happens and everyone's like, nope, we're sorting everyone. You have to stay in your region. Like, that's just dumb.
I mean, I understand that. But for the most part, like, most other countries aren't as diverse as our country.
Well, they're doing it wrong.
they're it depends. Like, I know.
Yeah.
England or Great Britain is they're sort of diverse like us, but still not as much. Like, we're one of the most diverse nations in the world. So
depending on where you go, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think that would actually be a good way to, as long as you don't like call attention to it, just a good way to just be like, oh yeah, look, this is where you can see progress. Where you just see, all of these people living in the same place.
Well, like Star Trek, right? Star Trek kind of gets it right where they could have anybody and everybody, and they should have everybody.
Yeah. Like, yeah, because that was a whole thing with the original Star Trek where, why they had a Russian guy on the bridge. Because it's like, it's like there is no difference. Like he's just part of the crew.
And a woman, which was at the time revolutionary.
Yeah, a black woman too. Like, in a pivotal role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see what else. There's a couple. There's a casting right for.
Supergirl.
Yeah.
On Supergirl, and I couldn't really find any previous credits for her. Probably could have looked a little harder, but they cast Amy Jackson, who is a British-born actress who did a bunch of Bollywood movies. They cast her as playing Saturn Girl. In Supergirl, which means that now they're going to be bringing in the Legion of Superheroes in this season of Supergirl, which I'm pretty excited for. I have a feeling they're finally going to be tying Mon-El into that. That they're probably going to say that.
You think he'll come back?
Oh no, he's back.
He's definitely back.
Yeah, he's definitely back.
Oh, cool! I'm happy. I thought he might have just been out of the show.
No, and I think this is like how they're going to be bringing him back is that he went to the 31st century where the Legion of Superheroes are, and that they're probably the ones sending him back.
They're not going to send him to like the future.
Dude, he went into like one of those like time portals from The Flash.
It was a time portal?
It looks exactly like him.
I don't know. I felt like it was like a wormhole type portal, like for travel over distance and space.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just wishful thinking because like Mon-El...
They can do that in the current timeline. They don't have to make it a future thing, right?
No, I want them to make it a future thing. Because, they've already established that the Legion of Superheroes exists because we saw the Legion ring in the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, but they haven't gone over that really again.
Dude, they're going to take it to the future.
And it doesn't mean that that's a future thing. It could be a modern thing.
I'm going to... You guys can't see it. I'm playing with the little coaster. I'm going to throw it at Carl. Dude, I want it to... Everything else they've done is pretty faithful. Why wouldn't they just have the Legion of Superheroes be from the future?
Yeah.
Why are you fighting against that?
I'm just saying it seems kind of contrived to make it in the future. Like, you're just forcing it that way. Like, yeah, it's written that way in the comics, but, like, at this point, you're forcing it. Like, somehow we got to get Mon-El into the future, and then you got to say that all this other stuff, and then you got to add more time travel to this universe.
Well, no, I mean, like, I think that's where he went, and I don't think it's going to take place in the future. I think they're existing in the future, and they're going to come to the present. I don't think...
Mon-El just like, I hit the wrong button on the ship, and it time traveled me instead of distance traveling me.
Dude, I'm just saying.
No, it's fine. Like, honestly, either way, I'm sure they'll handle it in a way that I'll enjoy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a lot of faith in the show. I think, they just keep on making good decisions. So,
what kind of powers does Saturn Girl have?
Telepathic, which I think they might be adding telekinetic to this. I think I read that.
Okay. That's good. They go kind of hand in hand.
Yeah. But, like, in the comics, or at least all the ones that I've read, she's pretty much just strictly been telepathic. That's kind of one of the things with the Legion of Superheroes is that none of them are incredibly, like, overpowered.
Okay.
Each one pretty much only has one power with the exception of, like, Mon-El or Ultra Boy, who is also kind of, like... He was kind of written as, a contemporary of, like, Superboy. Like, he had the similar powers. But his thing is he can only use one power at a time.
Matter Eater Lad.
The Karate Kid. Which I do love. If you ever watch the credits for like the Ralph Macchio movie, DC has a credit because like they own the copyright to the name Karate Kid. Because
that's silly.
So like DC has a credit in the credits for a Karate Kid.
That's funny.
But yeah, like Chameleon Boy, he's a shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
And there's I think it's like Giant Boy or Giant Lad. Which, like, I loved. They kind of rebooted the Legion of Superheroes a while ago. It might have been like 10 years ago at this point, but they made a thing about his character that he's like he's not a giant. The joke is that he can shrink down. Really, like he's from a race of giants and he can just shrink down to like normal person size. So he keeps on trying to tell people, he's like, no, I'm tiny lad, like I shrink, I don't grow, and everyone's like, no, you grow huge, you're a giant, so you're a giant. Like it's like a funny thing.
That's
like
funny,
it's kind of cool. It's a different take on it. I like Legion of Superheroes. There's a lot of fun stuff they could do, like Brainiac 5.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. They haven't really said anything that I've heard of them bringing in more than just Saturn Girl just yet, like Cosmic Boy, or Lightning Lad. Like, I don't know if, because those are the three main, like, head of the Legion of Superheroes. I don't know if they're bringing them in, but it'd be cool.
Okay. All right.
I'm keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not used to steering the ship a little. Yeah. Let's see. For the in November, the CW crossover event, among like all the shows, Supergirl, Flash, Green Arrow, and Green Arrow, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. They just cast Russell Tovey, who, he's been on a bunch of American shows, but I knew him best from the original Being Human, the BBC show. He showed up in Doctor Who a couple times too.
Okay.
He's going to be playing the Ray, who is kind of a little bit of a knockoff like Green Lantern character, which is the only reason why I ever read any of his comics. But in this he's playing a reporter who stumbles on like a government lab where they're trying to create a weapon of mass destruction, like that's based in light, and they turn it on him, and instead of killing him, he just gives him light powers, and he's like, well, if I'm just gonna write about all of this, this stuff, like why can't I just like intervene, and I'll just become a hero. And I think they're having him fighting with like the Freedom Fighters, which is like like Uncle Sam and a bunch of other kind of lame superheroes. But I'm excited for it because, like I said, he's a knockoff Green Lantern, and it's just one step closer to getting a Green Lantern on the show.
He calls himself the Ray.
The Ray.
Like, yeah, that's like light rays.
Yeah. Well, he's the son. He's like the son of, in the comics anyway. He's the son of the original Ray. So it's not like as on the nose.
There's
like,
another Ray.
Yeah, dude. Like
all one.
And dude, with the exception of Batman and Superman, pretty much every character is like the second or third incarnation.
Right. So his power, he can create constructs out of light also, like
but he can also create like illusions and stuff like that. I don't know how far they're going to go with it in the show, but he could fly. In the comics, he's actually like a being of pure energy.
So what he creates looks like what?
It looks like the object, but it's like it'll be like monochrome. Like it'll just look like, it's usually like yellow in the comics, or like gold, like goldenish.
All right.
So there's a lot of cool visuals that could be had. One thing I guess that they're doing with this character, they're making kind of a big deal out of it. And I don't know if it's a current thing in the comics. It's not. I don't remember it being this when I was reading it. But apparently they decided to make the character gay. I don't know the relevance of that. Because he's coming in at least one of the episodes. I'm guessing probably Legends of Tomorrow.
So he's going to be in the show that way, we know? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're saying. I don't know, because I checked like Wikipedia really quick, his entry on there. I didn't see anything, just say anything about like whether he was gay or not in the comics. So like, I don't know if they're going to do something to try and make a big deal out of that. Like, he's there to interrupt Barry and Iris's wedding. He's like, no, Barry, you haven't met me yet. But
that's right.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep. Their celebrity couple name could be like Beret.
All right. So, did you have something else there?
Let's see. The only other casting thing I had, and it's a really small thing. It's kind of rumored, but there was, I guess, a leaked audition tape for the Shazam movie.
Oh, right.
With Brendan Hurd from Hannibal. He auditioned for a role for a character named Frank, who was a disabled character. that pretty much everyone is assuming is Captain Marvel Jr., Freddie Freeman, who, in, not his superpowered form, is a disabled character. So, so there's some movement with the Shazam movie. I'm interested to know what they're going to call him.
Possibly a casting.
But
yeah, it's weird that they're gonna. I was asking you before when you first told me about this. I was like, so he does the Shazam thing, and he's still a boy.
Well, okay. Well, first he says Captain Marvel. He doesn't say Shazam.
Yeah. Well.
And yeah, he's still a kid. I think he's actually. He might be older than Billy Batson. Like, I think he might be closer to like 15, 16, something like that. But yeah, no, he basically his body just is no longer crippled to become super powered. He has the same set of powers as Captain Marvel. It's just when he becomes Captain Marvel Jr., it's a fraction of the power that Captain Marvel has.
So now, are we gonna have to call him Shazam Jr.?
Yeah.
And Miss Shazam?
Yeah. Or no, Mary Shazam. Because it's Mary Marvel.
Oh, it's Mary Marvel. Yeah. Mary Shazam.
Mary Shazam.
Is there a Shazam dog?
I think so. Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it is interesting that they're gonna cast someone to play that. Now I feel like it makes sense. They should do that. Maybe the group of orphans or a bunch of those characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're all gonna get powers.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be the only one. Billy Batson.
Yeah.
But they could be secondary characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
maybe in another movie they're like, all right, maybe we could give one of them, but like to have all of them seems really. It's very old school, like silliness.
Dude, I mean, I have no idea what's really going on with the movie. They still haven't cast.
No, we don't know.
Shazam.
We don't know the tone of this movie at all, really.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have with any DC movie. I don't really have too high hopes, but I was just interested to see that there's actually some movement at all. Yeah. Because unless I'm hearing news about it, I completely forget that this movie's happening.
Yeah. It seems like the black sheep of that, DC universe, that they sort of like it's one of the next movies coming up. But there's so little known about it. Yeah.
It's really just kind of like, it's coming up, guys. We're working on it.
Yeah, it's like we have to. It's almost like we got to do this because we said we were, and we don't know how this fits into everything else. But here it is. It's coming. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think probably the last thing. It's a very small thing that I have that I'm probably the most excited about out of anything that we've discussed yet is on October 8th during Monday Night Football. They will be premiering the final trailer for The Last Jedi.
Exciting. I'm very excited because The Last Jedi was fine. I enjoyed it, but I'm sure if you listen to this podcast, maybe you heard that like I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't like super excited by it because it didn't show me anything special or new, Star Warsy. Like it's like, all right, you're giving me more of the same, and like you're keeping a lot of secret, and but I want to see like, all right, what's gonna make this movie really stand out? Yeah, what's really cool about this movie?
See, and what I and again, like we're kind of rehashing conversations we've had in the past, but the thing that I liked about that trailer, because I agree with everything you said. It was basically kind of like a sizzle reel, but it was a sequel to the first trailer of The Force Awakens. Like it's shot for shot, the same beats just for the new movie, which I thought was a really cool thing to do. And for however frustrating it is, because, I love Star Wars and I want to get as much information about it as I can, even though we're at this point just, 2 months away from the new movie.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah. We're like just over 2 months away. Yeah. We're getting our final and really second trailer for this movie.
They really did a good job of keeping this under wraps.
Yeah, because once again they're like, okay, we're gonna spend no time, no money, or really any effort on the marketing of this. we're just going to let everybody else market this for us.
Right.
You know,
people like us, talking about it.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's like anything that they've licensed for, like, the clothing and the toys and all that. Like, Disney's like, yeah, just make your own commercials for it, and just be like, just do your own thing. We'll put no effort into this. We're gonna get like a whole bunch of like TV spots and stuff coming out and like stuff like
We're
that.
gonna get a barrage of that, like last time, where you get little bits of new scenes here and there.
Yeah.
Like I was totally watching everyone. I'm like, oh, the Japanese trailer is out. Oh, what's this little scene here?
Yeah.
I'll do that again.
Oh yeah, same here.
They're still smart, and they still, even though you got more stuff, you didn't give away anything that ruined or took away from the surprise.
No.
So
yeah.
All right, we're running pretty long here.
Yeah.
So I briefly, very quickly, the Tomb Raider trailer came out.
Yeah.
And the only thing really I wanted to say about that was that I think it looks fine. It might not be a good movie. I don't know. It looks like kind of typical type of action movie.
Yeah.
But what I really like about it is that they're taking stuff directly from the video game.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the reboot that happened. The last two games are a reboot. And there's parts in this trailer that are like beat by beat things just directly from that game. And I'm like, good. That's what I want. When you make a video game movie, like, you need to take things directly from the game. You need to follow the games to a point, of course. Mm-hmm. You can't, changing things too much alienates the fans of that series.
Yeah.
And there's a reason those games are popular and successful. All right. So changing too much, you're taking away from that. You're not doing. So I hope this means that this movie is good.
Yeah.
I want there to be proof that, hey, if you adapt a video game more faithfully, that actually will make a good movie out of it. But we don't know for sure. It looks like just like an action movie that could be good.
Yeah. Because before we started recording, we watched the trailer, and like, I've never really played the Tomb Raider games. Like, I think I might have played the first one like on PlayStation like many years ago.
Right.
I'm not the biggest gamer out there, but like really the only thought I had about it was like, okay, it looks kind of cool. It looks like could be fun. It doesn't look amazing, but it kind of reminded me tonally, and I mean this in a good way because I like the movie. It reminded me tonally of the first Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. With like it being lighthearted but like decent action. So that kind of made getting that feel of it kind of made me a little excited for it.
Yeah, we can hope. That you can only hope it's as good as that, because that was a good movie.
Yeah,
I actually do hope they do some of the supernatural stuff, because Tomb Raider games, they always go to some supernatural angle at some point.
Yeah,
and that first game that this is basing it on, that of the reboot, did have a supernatural element to it later on. The villain Trinity is directly from the game.
No, she's from the Matrix.
Yeah, right. She's got that like pickaxe thing that's in the game. That plane that she's like jumping across in the end, like that's in the game. Her on the boat traveling to some island and having to get off, that's in the game. Like, there's so many things that are directly from the game. Like, this is, I'm happy. I want that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how. I hope it turns out well.
Yeah.
And then last thing, I don't have time really, but we both saw the It movie.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you heard my opinions of it, but. Yet.
No.
But I really like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen it yet, and it's done really well, so you probably have.
Yeah, most likely.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a really good adaptation of it. I didn't actually read the book. I got turned off from it pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But the movie was really fun. Like, the miniseries, like, was something I watched when I was younger, and like, I enjoyed at least the first half of it. But yeah, this movie was really great. I'm really hoping that when they do chapter 2, it's not a repeat of the miniseries where like I lose all interest in the second half.
I think they'll do it justice. The Pennywise is great. The actor did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
The movie like very quickly gets you. He shows up very quickly, and that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
And what it does differently than other horror movies is that he's a tangible force. Like, that he's there and he can do things, and you sort of have an idea of how his powers work as you go on through the movie. It's a little vague, but he doesn't seem totally like impossible to stop. Like as things go on, like it's very cool. I like that about it. And just his scenes are just so great. Like the visuals that they do, of all the things that he can make you see, and the graphic violence and stuff that happens. Like you think it's like, I didn't find it scary because that stuff doesn't really scare me, but I found there was a horrific element to what you're seeing. These like awful things you're looking at, and I just wanted to keep seeing like how this movie was going to surprise me. What was it going to do that I didn't expect, because it constantly went in places that I'm like, whoa, I did not expect to ever see that.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I'm trying to collect my thoughts, because I don't know exactly what it is about it that I enjoyed. Like, I think it very much to me had the feeling of a classic horror movie, which is something that I don't think we've had in a while.
I mean, the kids all had a good, character moments for most part. You enjoyed their interaction with each other. Yeah. Some of them, there was a lot of them, right? So some of them didn't really get enough time to get established, but they did a really good job. Yeah. I guess I don't really want to go into spoilers, because if you haven't seen it, like, there's so much cool stuff to talk about in it. Yeah. The way the town is, the way the other people in the town act, like, there's a lot to speculate as to why they're acting that way. Yeah. And there is one thing somewhat tangential to the movie that I'm somewhat excited for, is that coming on Hulu, there's that Castle Rock show that, I don't know, have you heard of it? It's basically, it's an original Hulu show that takes place in Castle Rock, which is like the fictional town that Stephen King puts a lot of his stuff in. Mm-hmm. So it's basically what happens in this town that's set in the Stephen King universe. And Bill Skarsgård, the guy who played Pennywise, is a regular on the show. Okay. And he's playing an unnamed character so far. So part of me is like, I want to be Pennywise. but I think he's come out and said that it's not going to be. There's no way. But it'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited for a sequel. I think, like, that's it. We don't need to go into anymore. No. As much as I want to talk more about the movie. Yeah. It is the end of the show. Yes. And this has been The Superhero's Journey, episode 19. Yep. My name is Carl Freemerman. You can find me on Twitter at Carl Freemerman. That's CarlFreemerman. And I'm Brian Shores. You can find me on Twitter at ThatBrian. It's ThatBrien. Mm-hmm. And the show Twitter is at Superhero Journey. No E in Super. Yep. The email, if anybody cares, because no one writes to us. Come on, guys. Is thesuperheroesjourney@gmail.com. Yep. Heroes, Heroes, plural, not possessive. Exactly. Thanks for listening. Yep. Thanks.